My God, what in the world has even happened in January?
No rain.
Let's see. California burned down. Terror attacks, 2 of them.
Trump
right?
back in office.
Right. Inauguration goes on. Immigration crackdowns. I'll tell you what, January has been a long year. It has been a rough one.
You think so?
I just said it.
Huh. Okay.
All right, good. So, very good. So now we've got, when it comes to the immigration crackdowns, it looks like Arizona schools are trying to figure out what's next. You may have seen that the longstanding policy for immigration and customs enforcement has been, we're not going to go into churches or schools. And now, Tom Homan, who's the immigration czar, right? He says, we'll go wherever we think somebody is. It doesn't matter if it's churches or schools. We're going to go find people that are here without documentation, and we're going to mass deport them. That is priority one.
Saw that the United States got almost 1,000 over the weekend.
It was a good weekend. I believe if they want to keep up with the pace that the Biden administration has, they have to do 350 a day. I believe that's what it is. 350 a day.
Well, they got some catching up to do.
Yeah, but I think they're pacing pretty well for that. I mean, like you said, 1,000 over the weekend. It's about 350 a day. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I think they're pacing for it. So what happens when it comes to the schools?
Well,
do you go into the schools? I mean, I've said before, you want to get the parents to come out of the shadows, you go grab their kids.
Our school's boss, Tom Horn, superintendent of public instruction, said he's not concerned. He doesn't think they are going to come into the schools because nobody's committing illegal activity there. No reason to go into the schools.
But that just feels like his opinion. That's not as though he's saying schools are safe. That's not as though he's saying, I've talked to someone and the schools are not a high priority. That's just him trying to read tea leaves and saying, why would they do that? I told you why they do that. I want to get the parents. We're going to drag the parents out. So now we've got the Phoenix Union superintendent. Is it Thea Andrade? I'm not sure how you say your name, and I apologize.
Guess Andrade.
I like your flair better. Andrade. Thea Andrade. Okay. Sending a letter to families in the district stating that Phoenix Union's campuses were, quote unquote, safe zones for all students, regardless of citizenship status, and that the district would soon host a series of Know Your Rights workshops for students and families. She told families that students have the constitutional right to attend school regardless of immigration status. So they're going to do a workshop for the families? I mean, if I were ICE, wouldn't I just figure out when the workshop is and then just camp outside and figure out when everybody's going to be coming to the workshop?
Is anybody really going to that workshop?
Yeah, somebody will.
You think so?
Yeah, it might not be huge turnout. I mean, but if there's free cookies.
It seems like something that the school officials will go to the workshop because they're throwing the workshop. But will students and families actually want to go to a workshop?
You know, I'm going to say yes, and here's why. Because I hear what you're saying. This is kind of like when adults try to figure out what teens want to do after school.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. But I think that this will, because if you have people that are in this country and they don't have documentation, or let's say that you've got one parent who's citizen and the other parent doesn't have documentation, there may be some confusion. And you might have some people that are concerned with what's going to happen to their kids, and they go, you know what, this is where I can go ask my questions. And so I do think there will be some people that will go to these workshops. That said, it reminds me of those sting operations where they send out the letters to people who are fugitives, right? They have an idea of where the fugitives are, but they can never catch up to them. So they send out a letter, or somebody who's delinquent on child support or something.
Okay.
So they'll send out a letter that says, congratulations, you've been selected.
Like you've won something.
Exactly.
Like a Publishers Clearinghouse type.
You've already won $1,000 with a chance to win $100,000.
That's how
you
they
must
get them
be
out
in
of the
attendance.
shadows?
Oh, I've seen this before. It's great. And they'll make like 50 or 100 arrests of like deadbeat dads or something, you know.
Because they think they won something.
Exactly.
Wow, okay.
So in this case, though, they're saying, hey, come on in here, and then you'll get to know your rights. Why wouldn't ICE just camp up outside that Know Your Rights meeting?
Well, I think they would. Beyond that, Andrade also says that ICE agents have to obtain the superintendent's approval to even enter a school. and says that under federal law, the district doesn't collect information on a student's immigration status and can't share student records without parents' permission.
Okay. Or a warrant.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is it for an official to get a subpoena or a warrant in today's DOJ?
I'm guessing not very.
I'm guessing not very either.
And
so does the superintendent actually have to invite them in if they have a warrant? No. This isn't vampire rules. They don't have to stay outside unless they're invited in. The superintendent can't say, aha, I found this one simple trick that drives ICE crazy.
I'm just picturing ICE showing up outside of a school in the Phoenix Union High School District. And let's say there's, what do you want to say, 25, 50 ICE agents?
Oh, I think you're going to say schools. Yeah,
No.
okay, sure. Couple dozen, yeah.
And a superintendent telling ICE,
can't come in.
You can't come in. To those 25 or 50 federal officials, I see them just sliding the superintendent aside and marching in if they want to.
Yeah, I think especially if they've got a warrant in their hands.
Who's the superintendent going to call? Their
Ooh,
boss?
that's a good
Or
question.
do they call Tom Horn? Do they call the cops?
Call Sheridan. Call the sheriff and just say, we got a problem. And then make it a jurisdictional match, I guess.
Yeah,
make
then
them fight over each other.
You've got it, sheriff versus the feds. I'm thinking.
Well, yeah, but if the sheriff is there, at least you've got some authority, and they can go, okay, we're going to have a judge sign off on you entering the school. But again, if they've got a warrant, it's not really a question. It's already been signed off on.
Right. They've got a warrant and Trump's authority.
Yeah.
To be in there. I got to think that they're going to be allowed to go in.
I am not so sure that now they're calling it a safe zone. You can't call it a sanctuary school, right? Because don't say the word sanctuary in America right now. Unless you're talking about the upper chamber of the church, you can't say the word sanctuary because that means aiding and abetting, harboring undocumented fugitives.
Oh, so you're saying that would mean that they know that there are students there who are not legal.
They're just playing games.
Okay.
No, they don't. We don't know, but we are going to keep them safe here. So they're saying safe zone. You can't say that we're a sanctuary. If you say we're a sanctuary city, now all of a sudden it's like, aha, they're bucking the rules of immigration enforcement. But if you say safe zone for students, then you go, they're protecting the children.
But we just discussed they're really not.
They're really not. I just don't think that they are. And I'd like to dive into this a little bit further here, too, because I am not convinced that anybody should feel safe in that safe zone. Why should you not feel safe in a safe zone? Now, the safe zones are laid out by the Phoenix Union High School District, where the superintendent sends a letter to the families saying that the campuses are safe zones for all students, regardless of citizenship status, and that the district will soon host a series of Know Your Rights workshops for kids and families. She told families that students have the constitutional right to attend school regardless of immigration status. So she says, don't worry, safe zone.
I would say warrant and authority of President Trump, safe zone.
Okay. Those were words. What do you mean, Trump safe zone? I don't know what you mean. Authority of President Trump. I got you that far.
And a warrant. Outdo.
Trump. Okay, I got you.
Yes.
Okay. I thought you were using the word Trump again. Okay, I got you.
I was in a different context.
Got you.
I wasn't trying to be clever with it either. Just saying they
I get you
carry more weight than the word safe zone.
Okay.
How about that?
Yes. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I thought you were saying President Trump twice.
No,
Okay.
no, I did.
Okay.
Not, but no.
Yeah.
So a warrant and Trump's authority carry more weight and more legal authority than simply saying and holding some meetings that say, this is a safe zone. Your kids are safe here.
So,
and the feds have to ask before they come in our schools.
I would only quibble a little bit with what you said, and that is that sometimes we tend to assign this omnipresent authority to the President of the United States. And I don't think that they have omnipotence. I don't think that we have quite yet gone to a straight monarchy.
No, but that warrant carries quite a bit of authority,
however,
too.
yes, the warrant, 100% with you. I think
Trump's desire and a warrant.
There will be lawsuits over ICE enforcement and what goes on with it. In fact, we've got a story coming up here in about 15 minutes that I'll tell you. I think there's going to be some lawsuits in Arizona from one group of people who I think have pretty good leg to stand on. So, yeah, I would agree with you that there's a lot of force. Can we say that? There's a lot of force coming at those schools, whether they like that the force is coming or not.
Now, why do you think you shouldn't feel safe in a safe zone?
Well, I kind of hit at this in the first segment, and that is that if you're saying, hey, we're going to do workshops, like, why doesn't ICE just camp out outside the workshops? It's sort of like when I was a kid, and they would stock the ponds, right? They would bring fish into the ponds at the local lakes. Best time of fishing was right after they stocked the lake, because that's when the fish were there, right? So you knew the fish were going to be there. That's when you would go fishing.
But let's just say that you are my student and or you're my kid, and you were born here. So at least for now, you're a legal citizen. See what happens with the whole birthright citizenship thing. But I am illegal. I entered the U.S. by less than legal means.
You're still my dad. Okay.
Why am I going to come out of the shadows to go to this meeting? I know they're saying that it's safe for me to go, but we hear lots of people talk about people are nervous about exiting the shadows right now, and they're worried that they will be apprehended. So why would I go to this meeting? Because I'm smart enough to understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's a meeting about a safe zone? I feel like that could be a setup for the feds to show up and get me. Why am I going to even go there?
So that's the best reason to not go. And I think that's going to keep a lot of people away.
Right.
I do think there are some people, though, that are going to be, let's use your scenario, that go, I'm confused. Is my kid safe? Because I just heard that even my kid was born here. My kid is a citizen. My kid should be safe. But now I just heard that no longer are you a citizen if you were born here, right? There's people catch headlines. They don't look beyond the headlines. And when it's a meeting that's set up as a series of know your rights workshops, I think it may be a desire to understand what the rules are so that you know what your next move is. Knowledge is power, and they want to have that information. So I think there will be some that go, I got to figure out what this even means.
Okay.
But I think the reason people stay away is exactly what you just laid out.
But if they are here legally, what do they have to fear then? Then I could see them going to the meeting.
You're going to have to wait until 3:30. Until 2:30, 2:35. We've got a story about people who are here legally that still have worries. You're going to find out.
Do?
Shush.
Hush.
Yes, we will have that.
Okay.
All right. Now, another reason I think that you have to be concern yourself a little bit with when they say it's a safe zone, may not be safe. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying. I think that there's a zealous enforcement of immigration right now. I mean, I was just looking at we've got Fox News up on the monitors in the studio, and I was just seeing that they were talking about immigration. They held up a picture from I think it was the RNC, where it had sort of the "Make America Great Again" sign look to it. You know, it was a blue background and red on a frame, and it said "Mass Deportations Now." I think that there is a heavy push by a group of very zealous people that say we've got to do this. It's been too long.
Well, you mentioned a few minutes ago, too, that the Trump administration's goal is to outdo what the Biden administration was doing, which was $350 a day.
Yeah, 350.
So then you've got to be looking at 400 plus
a day. Yes. And I think that zealous enforcement of immigration crackdown doesn't stop just because Tom Horn, the state superintendent of public instruction, publicly says that he doesn't think that they're going to go to the schools. Let me put on my tinfoil hat for a minute. So I was listening to the news with Becky Lynn. She gave us the news flash there, and I'm sure there'll be more coming up here at 2:30. So the superintendent of schools, Tom Horn, says that we're short, $12 million?
Yeah.
But that the feds have stepped in, and they gave $6.
Yeah.
So if there's one thing I'm noticing about this administration, it's that there are strings attached. California, my goodness, you lost $30 billion worth of property at a minimum. That number could be well over $100 billion. We want to be able to step in and help you out. But to do that, we're going to have to see you change your water policy and enact voter ID laws. Strings attached.
Yeah.
Sorry your house burned down. Like to help you out. Going to have voter ID laws, right? There's strings attached. Colombia, we don't want to put tariffs on you, but that means you're going to have to take these plane loads of people that we're deporting.
So what string is there here?
Maybe
giving $6 million.
So far, all of the strings have had to do with immigration. So Tom Horn says, no, everything's fine. Just go to school. Don't need to worry about anything. Just keep up your normal routine. Go to school.
All the while,
he's not under oath.
All the while knowing that
we're about to have ICE crackdowns on different schools in the area. Again, it's just conspiracy theory here, right? It's just I'm putting on my tinfoil hat. But, I mean, there's money coming in from the feds to help bail things out. And why is that? I don't know. But I know that this administration likes to have strings attached.
Do you think, let's say, theoretically, ICE does go into the schools. Do you think they are looking to deport kids, or are they looking to find the kids' parents?
Yeah, my opinion is they're trying to find the kids' parents. Yeah. I mean, my opinion is that if you have, it doesn't do any good to deport the 12-year-old or the 15-year-old or the 6-year-old.
I'd like to see more stats on the 900 plus who were rounded up
over the weekend.
In Chicago, Atlanta, some
Boston,
other cities out there.
You know, I was talking with Mike Broomhead this morning, and he was talking. I mentioned that we were going to be discussing this, and he pulled the old Tucker Carlson trick of saying, "I'm just asking good questions."
Oh,
just asking good questions. And he said, "I mean, how many MS-13 gang members are in schools right now between 14 and 17 years old?"
MS-13 gang members.
And I said, I don't know. And he's like, "It's just a good question, and we'll never know unless we go in and find out." So in other words, we don't know if there might be a violent gang member in the high school unless we send ICE in and go find them. Of course, you know me, I like to jerk his chain a little bit. And I was like, why don't you care about the Bloods and Crips? Why are you happy with all the American gangs operating in the high schools?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. When we say MS-13, that's a big boogeyman, right? MS-13 gang members nationwide. Do you know how many MS-13 gang members there are nationwide?
I have no idea.
10,000.
In the U.S.?
Yes.
Okay.
The majority are in California.
Okay.
Many in the Northeast, New York. They've been identified in about 40 states. Including Arizona. If we were to divide, however, 10,000 by 40, we would come up with 250. That means 250 MS-13 gang members per state. Of that, how many are going to be between the ages of 14 and 17? And of that, how many are going to school? Because as we all know, truancy is a major concern for El Salvadorian gangs.
Gang was actually created here in the U.S., too.
By people from El Salvador.
So maybe a small handful. I'll say less than 5.
I'm going to go in all the state. I'm going to go ahead and say that is probably not the concern that we have right now. But
if you don't ask that question, you don't know.
How are we going to know unless we get the gazpacho police in to take care of it?
My favorite police.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.